Oscar Bevis for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm here today on Zoom again, joined by Mr. Dave Coldwell, who is probably the record breaker for appearances over the lockdown period. I think this is number 6. I think you made more appearances than me over the lockdown period.
I don't know if I've done that many. I've done a few. I'm doing a lot of Instagram lives. I know that much. It's just passing time, isn't it? If people want to speak to you, then you're not going to say no when you're got a lot of downtime.
How are you feeling now as we get further into this? Because at the start there was sort of, I know, things people could find to do. Like on a personal level, I'd go out and try and work on some fitness, and then I'll do this and this. But it seems like that's all worn off, and now everyone's just waiting for it to just end.
Yeah, I'm like everybody else. I'm waiting for it to end. I can't wait for it to end. But I'm still keeping busy. The days are still flying by. Before I know it, it's like 7:00. And you know, it's going well because I'm keeping myself busy. I'm keeping my family busy, the kids busy. And I just find that if you attack a situation and if you attack spare time, there's always something that you can be doing. So yeah, I'm just missing the actual hands-on coaching side of things. I'm missing the events, you know, I'm missing football. So I'm just missing the stuff that everybody else is missing, really. But I'm making the best of a bad situation, really.
How much actual contact do you have with your fighters when it comes to sort of training situations? Because I've seen fighters sort of get their fitness coach on FaceTime or whatever. How much?
So we're doing FaceTime sessions. We're doing FaceTime boxing sessions. We're doing those 3 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So them 3 times a week. It's can't hammer them at it, you know, during lockdown. So it's been a case of just improving on technique. So we've been working 3 days a week. The other 2 days they've just been doing bits of bag work and just going back and rehearsing what we've been working on FaceTime and things. Yeah, they've been training 5 days a week. Obviously, there's no sparring. It's not brutal. It's kind of like 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off in terms of how hard they're working. But they're doing the S&C coaching, the sessions, they're doing the runs. Yeah, Hopi and Jordan, I'll be honest with you, all they're missing is some sparring fitness. That's it.
In terms of them two, if you think about the stages of their career that they're both at, is this probably the worst time for them to? Hope you're looking to sort of keep nailing down the wins and sort of perhaps end the year 4-5-0, and then Jordan wanting to get that Florence win out of the way and then try and get back into big fights. Is it sort of the worst possible time for them?
It is, but it could be worse because they could be old. They could be coming to the end of their career where taking a big chunk, of time out of the gym and fights falling through and stuff like that affects you more because, your career shelf, career life. So it could be worse. And that's how I look at things. There's no point in dwelling on it to them and saying, oh yeah, it's coming at such a bad, they know it's at a bad time. We all know it's a bad time, but it's a bad time for everybody. There are people that have lost lives. There are families that have lost loved ones. So it's like you're stuck in lockdown. You've had a fight cancelled. You could have broke your hand. You could have had another injury that's meant that you couldn't box for a while. It is part of a career. It's just a weird circumstance. It's a one-off circumstance. So we just, same as if it had been an injury or anything, you work around it. You do what you can do. And that's what they've done. They've focused, and it's about closing the gap on people that are ahead of you, people that may be struggling with motivation, maybe struggling with weight and things like that. And so they've kind of like took the foot off the pedal, because there will be some that are out there that are above Jordan and Opie in the rankings and where they want to be. And whereas the gap was there, maybe it's closed because my guys have worked really, really hard and done well. So certainly in Jordan's case, where he was supposed to have fought, like you say, he's had a frustrating time with injury and illness, and then he was supposed to fight on March 28th, and 10 days before the fight we go into lockdown, we get cancelled. With Hopi, he just wants to get carrying on, but he's young, he's only just 20. His is all about that youthfulness of wanting to build on what you've started, and the whole Saudi thing. But with Jordan, you know, he's just been focused, and I'm really proud with how he's handled it, because it's yet another setback on the back of quite a few setbacks over the last 2 years, 18 months. So he's handled it really, really well in a positive manner. And, you know, I look at him technique-wise and technically, his whole posture and everything, how he is, and it looks great. He's really worked hard at what we've been doing in the sessions, and I can see it in him already as a change.
I want to talk about Matchroom Fight Camp, because I watched Eddie Hearn's Instagram live yesterday, and Jordan Gill was one of the names that he mentioned, because they're talking about chucking people in. You know, if we're going to have 5 fight cards, you are going to have to put barely 50-50 even fights on.
Yeah.
Jordan's one of them people who is probably was looking for a fight like that anyway. And he's mentioned the fact that, you know, get Rhys Williams back on the scene, because obviously his ties with Matchroom. There's fights there also for Jordan that, you know, Isaac Lowe, another fight that we'd like to see Jordan in, but because of the promotional situation, it's probably unlikely to happen. But with Jordan, you know, and the fact that Eddie's now putting this fight camp together, it seems like there is a bit more motivation and a clear vision of that he could perhaps fight in the next month or so. Yeah.
I mean, when Eddie was discussing about fight camp, we spoke and we talked about Jordan anyway. So Jordan's been training for a fight camp date anyway. We've spoke about what fights we're looking at. You know, obviously Jordan was supposed to come back with a routine fight after his illness and everything like that. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see how he was. That fight got canned, and ideally, in an ideal world, we would have that fight next anyway. But circumstances change. I 100% understand the situation that boxing's in right now. Not just Eddie, but boxing as a sport. You know, people aren't going to be wanting to tune into fight camp, or, you know, whoever show it is. They're not going to be wanting. They've been waiting for sport, and then you see a prospect beating up a journeyman, and it's like, oh, is that what we've been waiting for? People aren't going to want to see that. So I understand that. So the landscapes change a little bit. So you have a choice as a coach, manager, fighter. You have a choice to either understand that and accept that and think, well, if I want to be a part of the first cogs being put into motion of boxing moving again, if I want to be a part of that and get in on one of these fight camp shows, then here are the terms. You have to have a real fight. If I want to be a part of it, I will take it. If I don't want to be a part of it, and I want to say, well, no, because I want to fight just a tune-up fight when I come back. I want to fight in front of a crowd. Then you have the choice to then turn around and say to Eddie, or if Warren puts one on for BT, you have a choice to turn around to your promoter and say, thanks a lot for offering, mate. Count me out on this one. But then you're going to be waiting. You don't know when crowds are going to be back in. You don't know when your next opportunity is going to be. And my fighters understand that they're up for it. They want to fight, and they want their careers moving as soon as possible. So whether there's a crowd or not doesn't bother them. And if it means it's a real fight, then it is what it is. And the thing is that we've got a chance here with boxing, where with the whole Mayweather thing and the unbeaten record and things like that, fans, people in boxing, trainers, managers, fighters even, they bought into this, and they bought into this wanting to, protect my record, and I don't, I'm not fighting anybody, I want to just keep building wins up and then I'll get a title shot. And also, I think a lot of people's mentalities is, as soon as that fighter loses they write him off. You see it on social media. It's shit, hype job. He was never any good. He was this, blah, blah. Whereas you look at UFC, you look at fighters of the past, and, the UFC, fighters get beat all the time. Nobody cares about records. I couldn't, I don't hear people talking about UFC records. UFC fans, I don't hear them talking about records. It's whether it's a fight, it's a good fight, and if he wins, he wins. If he loses, he comes back and he fights somebody else, and it's a good fight. And that seems from, because I'm not a UFC expert, but that seems how the game works, and the fans accept that. Just because you've got a loss on your record, doesn't mean that you're shit. I want to see him a fight again. And I think that boxing's got an opportunity here where, because of what's happened, even when crowds are back, I think we're going to get fights. We're going to get better fights. We're going to get fights that maybe would marinate for a little bit longer than what we want them to start happening. And I believe that the days of your prospects having so many fights against nobodies is going to be gone. I'm not saying you're going to put them in, with killers after a couple of fights, but fights where it's going to be a bit of a test. It's you're not just fighting a guy that's just to see how many rounds is it going to take to stop him. Will he stop him quicker than that fighter, than that prospect? Then people don't want to see them fights, especially when we come back from this and there's only 5 fights on a card. You can't get away with that. So we're part of that mentality where we think, right, okay, well, Jordan's only 25. He had his first 16 fights were them kind of fights where it's he's fighting journeymen, he's fighting guys that aren't even really trying to win. And then each fight is since he's things have moved on and he's fighting better quality fighters, and these are the fights that he's learning from. It's like when we have sparring partners, in the fact that the good quality sparring partners you have, you learn. I saw a video the other day, a fighter sparring some guy that weren't in his league. You're not learning from anything like that, And so same with the fights. If you're fighting a guy that's just a case of doing what you want, you're not having any questions asked of you, you're not learning, so you're not improving. So when you do make that big step up, that transition, and jump that level, there's a lot of unanswered questions about yourself, And I think right now, if the promoters understand that when you're putting these fights together now on Fight Camp, on whatever it is behind closed doors with other promoters, and you want to have real fights, and maybe real fights in times where maybe it's not ideal time for the fighters, if one of them gets beat, you don't just chuck him on the scrap heap. You don't just say, "Oh, he's shit." Bring him back. Let's do what the UFC do. Bring him back. If it's a good fight, don't get me wrong. If they go in there and they're absolutely, don't even try, or they're just completely outclassed, and you see the big difference, then they've got to go away and they've got to, go drop down a level maybe and learn and come fight their way back through. But if you have a 50-50 fight and it's a great fight to watch, the fans are enjoying it, it's a good fight, it's a good competitive fight, and one guy beats the other, you don't then just write the other kid off, even if he was the unbeaten fighter and got beat, or if he was a prospect and got beat. Don't write him off. Let's bring him back again, because he will have become a better fighter because of that. But the same thing is, the fans have got to understand that. It's just because a fighter gets beat, don't start slating him and saying the shit and being abusive about him, because that's part of the problem of why a lot of fighters don't want to take tough fights, don't want to take these testing, meaningful, difficult fights where maybe they're the underdog, because when they do get beat, they get absolutely abused, and nobody wants to see that. So maybe fans, promoters, managers, coaches have got to understand that if you get beat, it's part of the game, part of the process. You look at fighters, going back a bit. Bernard Hopkins was beat earlier in his career. Johnny Nelson was beat multiple times. British domestic champions like John Keaton lost a lot of fights, but kept going, and ended up winning British titles. And do you know what I mean? There's fighters that have lost fights early doors, come back and just keep going, and then they end up winning titles. In the later parts of the career. It's about learning. It's about your mentality, and so I think that it'd be great if collectively everyone kind of adjusted their attitudes towards what a loss means to a fighter.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense, because the amount of fighters who recently, we've seen a lot of fairly big domestic names. Look at Jordan, you look at Ted Cheeseman as well, guys like that lose their first fight, and the response isn't ideal from the fans, and it's not ideal from what they were probably expecting, but probably what they were actually expecting from a loss is what they got, because I remember at the time Jordan got a lot of stick, I remember Ted get a lot of stick as well. So, but with this fight camp, we are going to see 50-50s hopefully, and maybe it will open up people's minds to accept that if there's a 50-50 and there's two good domestic fighters, one of them's going to lose.
And this is the thing is you can't have it always. You know, you want to see good competitive fights. You want to see unbeaten against unbeaten. You want to see that sort of stuff. So when they go in there, when these fighters have the nuts to go in there and do it, you're sat there on your phone and sat on your sofa, slating them and berating them for it, just because they get. It's like when a fighter loses by a point or a point or two, and it's close. That's close. You got battered. You was shit. You got outclassed. No, you didn't. You lost a close fight. You know, I mean, Fowler gets a lot of shit. Fowler against Fitzgerald was a good fight. Was a very good fight, and it was a fight where you had pockets of Fowler's success, and then you had Fitzgerald having success. And you look at that. Was it round 9, round 8 when Fowler hurt Fitzgerald, unloaded? So he was that close to winning that fight, and then he got dropped because he was gassed, he was tired, and he walked onto a really good shot, and he got dropped. And then that knockdown, you look at how that swayed from one round to the next. You can't tell me that's not a good fight. That's a close fight. But then you look at your social media, and the ones that are very partisan and pro, you do get that element of fans where they're just that camp and that camp. But you've got to be able to appreciate the other guy did put up a good fight. The other guy did, you enjoyed watching that fight. You didn't enjoy it because it was just a one-sided beatdown. You enjoyed it because it was a good competitive fight. And so you have to kind of just acknowledge that. And, I think that's a big thing, because fighters put the reputation online, they put their lives on the line, for our entertainment, because we like to watch boxing. When they're doing that and they're putting everything on the line, when they get beat, it hurts. It really hurts. And they're upset, and it's their career, it's their livelihood. So instead of now finally, looks like they may be earning better money now, they're going back onto less money than what they got for. There's so many things. The last thing that they need then is all these people on odd cases on Twitter slating them and being personal about them and taking the piss out of them. So they're going in there and they're actually trying. They're trying to do it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But there are so many fighters that have lost, that have been berated and been slagged off, and come back from it and ended up being champions and end up being world champions. So it's you just look at someone like Tevin Farmer. He look at his career early doors, but he's learned from his losses, and then he came back and ended up being a world champion. All right, he's lost again, but he's suffered from that before, so he'll know how to handle it, and he'll probably come back a better fighter.
Yeah, 100%. I think Tevin Farmer was like 1 for 4 at one point or something. So it just shows you the sort of trajectory you can take if you take a loss on the chin and learn from it. But just quickly again with this Matchroom fight camp, because if I look at someone like Jordan and you say that you're going to want to put him in a fight, there is part of it sort of about being part of a historical event as well. This is the event that showed how boxing responded to the pandemic. So it's sort of, you're also part of a bit of history as well, if that makes sense. So that's probably why a lot of fighters will push to be on a show like
that. Maybe, but I'll be honest with you. I think fighters just want to fight. Fighters just want to get back, get the career moving again. Like I said, Jordan's been out for a while, and then he was due to be back, and then his fight got called. Fighters are going into camp, they're dieting, and then a fight gets called off. It's a nightmare. When a fighter doesn't fight, he doesn't earn no money. So they want to fight. First and foremost, they want to get their careers moving again. And yes, it is nice to be part of something historical and something that's going to be a little bit special. And like you say, being part of the first movement of the sport moving back again. But ultimately, fighters want to fight.
I want to talk about this no supporters situation, because I've heard a lot of people say that you can put in, and I saw it at the German football yesterday, you can put in this sort of fake crowd noise and stuff like that. Do we just have to accept that if there's not fans, don't try and pretend there's fans? We know there's no fans. We don't need fake crowd noise.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a strange one, that is, because it's going to be weird. When you've been to a dinner show, amateur boxing dinner show, or even a pro dinner show, the dinner shows, the atmospheres a lot of the time are dreadful. Do you remember when Derek Chisora fought out in Monaco, and Derek couldn't get going? And that was the kind of fight that Derek, when you've seen him since having tough spots in a fight and stuff like that at the O2 or wherever, or Manchester, he uses the crowd's energy and gets going. There are fighters that are like that need a crowd's energy. Then there's fighters that actually fold under the pressure of the crowd. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works in matchups and see how people handle that. As for fake crowd noise, I don't know. Unless it's a very good sound system that sounds very realistic, I can't see point in that, because is there going to be some of their timing crowds when there's a big shot landed? Because can you imagine nothing's happening in the fight and you hear the crowd making a big noise? It's like, I don't know. I think that's I don't think that's needed, to be honest.
I mean, there's definite, and with Eddie goes big or goes home. There's going to be production value there, and there's always going to be that sort of, I don't know, will there be a pay-per-view, etc. That sort of debate going on. Yeah, there's always razzmatazz with Eddie and Matchroom, that. But it depends on the level of fights. Like you talk about Del Boy, Del Boy Usyk. I can't imagine that as a behind closed doors show. But then White Povetkin was suggested as one, and they've sold out the Manchester Arena. So you have to sort of get the balance right as well.
Yeah, and Dylan's said loads of times that he doesn't care where he fights. He'll fight wherever. He'll literally fight in somebody's backyard, and that's what he's going to end up doing. And that's a massive fight, that is, to do in your back garden. But it's a case of because there's so many unanswered. We don't actually know when crowds are going to be all available yet. You have to, again, Dylan wants his career moving. Does he want to just sit and wait and bide his time, or wait and see? What happens? I don't think it will. And listening to what's being discovered with other countries. But let's just say if there was a second spike, imagine you had an opportunity to box and you waited thinking, I'm going to wait until the crowds come back. And then you think that you're going to get a crowds come back, and then all of a sudden everything gets shut down on public gatherings again, on big gatherings again. You'd be absolutely devastated. Take it while it's there. And that's what, Dylan wants to do. And that's what, quite a lot of fighters want to do. Like I said, each to his own. But that'd be a massive fight for behind closed doors. It's like I said, the fighting as such, it's going to be weird because you've not got the crowd, the atmosphere, that adrenaline rush from the crowd, and so it's going to be weird. But then again, I will say this: behind closed doors in gyms, you see a lot of great sparring sessions. Once that bell goes and they're in there, majority of fighters aren't going to be bothered about what's going off around them. In a gym, when there's no crowds and nothing, there's a few people in the gym. Mate, I've seen some serious fights, scraps, serious scraps. So that we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely. Now, how good a shape is Mike Tyson in, by the way?
Yeah, he's in great shape, isn't he? 53 years old. He looks fantastic. Really does.
You said you sort of touched on this a little bit, but obviously it seems like there's developments all the time. We don't know how realistic a return for Mike actually is. He might just be getting into shape and talking just to get some hype and buzz around him again. He probably misses all that. That's understandable. But he doesn't really need to return to boxing, especially professional boxing. And I'm one of them people who thinks an exhibition's just a bit of a mess around. Even that's probably not worth it. Do we need to see Mike again?
No. Listen, I think it's fantastic. Any 53-year-old that looks like that has done a hell of a job. Well done, and I hope I look in that great shape at 53 years old. But looking in great shape, aesthetically and physically, and getting in there and fighting, two totally different things. Looking great on pads that you're rehearsing and you drills, and looking great on pads is completely different to getting in there and somebody punching your back, somebody moving, trying to stop you from it. And I wouldn't like to see it, because at the end of the day, when no matter what his trunk's looking like and his upper body's looking like in these little clips, you know, and let's remember the little few second clips that they're putting out, you know, to stretch that over out for 3 minutes rounds when you're having to move your legs, 53-year-old legs, to take punches at 53 years old isn't a good thing. It's not a good thing, you know. It's not a great thing when you're young, you know, and you don't take things yet. You don't take hammer to your body as well as what you did in younger days, as what you do in your older days. And so I wouldn't want to say it. I wouldn't want to see an exhibition. And an exhibition. Could you see an exhibition? Could you imagine an exhibition with the egos of Holyfield and Tyson if they were to do an exhibition together? That wouldn't be my idea of an exhibition is a bit of fun, clowning about with crowd and just messing about and just, you know, just having a little bit of a tip tap. With those two, that'd turn out into just a slugfest. And the problem is they're old men now, so it's not gonna be good for the bodies or the brains, to be honest. So I won't want to see it. It's great to see him on the pads and on the bags. Keep that footage coming. Show us that he's still in great shape. I love that. But I won't want to see him fight.
I mean, he has sort of got that little posse of top heavyweights sort of saying that they're going to do the same with the Holyfield. I mean, Breek has been talking about a comeback for years anyway, so that was no surprise.
I know he's never really gone away. He's always been talking about it. He's just been looking for a fight. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to see Holyfield even worse than Tyson, to be honest, because Holyfield. Everyone's telling me, oh, Holyfield looked great on pads. I thought he looked old. It looks old on the pads. You know, I don't think he looked particularly great. And if you remember, at the end of his career, he was just slow, and that's what happens with age. You know, it happens with age. That's it. And I won't want to see any of them fight. I won't want to see. They've had great careers. They're absolute legends of the sport. Regardless of, you know, what you think of them and which one you prefer. But the likes of Holyfield and Tyson, for me, are legends of the sport, and I want them to stay as legends. And yes, it's fantastic that you're in great shape now at your age. Keep that going. That's really inspirational, because it's showing everybody, you know, that they can attain that sort of shape. Especially someone like Tyson, who went into really bad shape at one point. For him to get back into that shape is fantastic. But nah, I won't want to see him getting into another fight or exhibition like that.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. I mean, the thing is, I'm one of them people who say I don't want to see it, but obviously if it was on my screen, I'm not going to not watch it. That's the thing.
But that happens with that happens with a lot, isn't it? You just because you don't want to see something, don't mean that you don't watch it if it happens. You know, I wouldn't want it to happen, but if it happened, I probably would watch it. I probably would. Because it's Tyson and Holyfield, and because it's that intrigue factor in it. It's like, go on, let's see. It's like that. Yeah, I think obviously it would, but is it right? No, it's not.
I want to bring up a video you mentioned earlier, because you said about you saw a fighter beating someone up in sparring. Obviously, Rhys Williams has brought that video out. Got some criticism, got deleted, made an apology. He's only young, and now he's lining up a fight with a man you know very well, one of your old boys, in Anthony Fowler, it seems. So there's sort of, I won't say there's been a positive spin to it, but you know, it could turn out that we've now got another what looks like could be a decent fight on our hands just from him beating up someone who looks like they're from BoxFit.
Yeah, it was a shitty thing to do, really. Obviously the kid weren't in his league, but he's young. It's that exuberance, and it doesn't make him a bad person. It makes him. It was a dick, you know. And everybody does things that makes you a bit of a dick sometimes. Everybody, the nicest person in the world will do something that makes them look like a twat. Do you know what I mean? It's just people make mistakes. People do things, get carried away. The problem is nobody around him, you know, told him about that. You know, nobody around him told him about that. I mean, it's just common. It's common courtesy, really, that it's all right putting up little bits of 50-50 spars, or you know, just technical spars. But when somebody's getting an absolute tanking, that's bad. That is bad. When it's somebody that's completely out of your league, and like you said, it looks like it's just to keep fitter. There is no plus side of that. But like I said, he's young. He's apologised. He's took it down. So we move on. The fun thing is obviously, like you said, people jumped all over it, and it's talk. I mean, I heard that's the thing more worse is how he's come back from it. Is I heard how he said what he said about Billy Joe, and I'll see you, and I'll do, mate, please.
Yeah, I mean, we know realistically it's not going to end up with Amon Williams fighting Billy Joe. I think that's
no. But even if he thinks he's gonna see him in a gym, listen, he would get absolutely embarrassed in a gym with Billy Joe. Forget about in a fight. But yeah, I see him talking about Fowler. I saw that little bit, and I've got to say, Fowler seems to be having fallouts with everybody. There's O'Hara Davis, there's him. Who's going to be next? But yeah, it's interesting. That'd be an interesting little fight. But he's only, what is he, 5-0? So he's got a bit of catching up to do, really. I think the trajectory that Fowler's on, he's 29. He needs to get the momentum going. He's won a couple of titles now. He needs to be in big fights. Amon Williams is just a novice after fight. He's had 5 fights, and I don't think that's a fight that'll happen. Probably, who knows? Unless they move Amon really, really quickly over stateside, Fowler breaks out of the domestic triangle really, and then then they may meet. We'll see. I don't know.
Dave, just before I let you go, Tony Bellew on SAS Who Dares Wins. Good viewing, isn't it?
Oh, it was really good. Mate, do you know what? I'm really proud of him. But people say what you want. Oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. But everybody's got an idea how somebody else should have tackled a certain situation. But until you're in that situation, it's fucking hard. That SAS, that is brutal. It's probably my favourite thing on TV. But it's the most brutal thing because it doesn't just attack your body constantly. It's constant warfare on your mind. Whether you're stood there freezing, soaking, that's all mentally challenging and mentally draining. And then these little tasks that they give them to do and stuff like that, and are they prodding at your psyche as well for demons that are in there? It's very, very it is brilliant, and I think anyone that goes on it is brilliant and have done brilliant. And people like Joey Essex, who you perceive him to be a certain way, and listen, he's a clever dude because look at the amount of money he's made and the lifestyle that he's got through portraying himself as a certain way. He's smarter than what you think. But then to see how he's handled himself on there, and I just think it's brilliant. I think Bellew did really, really well. It was upsetting a few times. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like seeing Tony upset and in a bad place. But I think speaking to him, he's got a lot out of it, which is the most important thing. But he did brilliant, and to get as far as he did was fantastic. Really did.
Yeah, I mean, we always presume that Tony's one of them people who retired content. Obviously, became world champion. One of them people like Darren Barker, Carl Frotches, they retire and they're content with their achievements. But it seemed like Bellew feels like he's still got something to prove to himself, and maybe the SAS has been that for him.
Yeah. The problem is when you retire, you've got to remember is Tony loves to fight. He's not the biggest fan of training, but he loves the sparring. He loves, he loves the pad work, but he loves the sparring. He loves the fighting. He wants to fight. And when you've done that for 20 years, and then that stops, there's going to be an adjustment time for you to be able to find your feet, find what you want to do in life, find something that gives you the same sort of passion and drive. You need to have, when you're very driven like he is, and he's one of the most driven individuals I've ever met in my life. When you are like that, you have to have something in front of you. You have to have something that gives you that purpose. And I know, listen, just don't get me wrong. He's a great dad. He's a great family man. But that's different to what a sportsman's mentality is like, a fighter's mentality is like. For the deal with on a day-to-day basis as a fighter. Even the little things of like spending years and years and years going into a fight camp. you know, to prepare for a fight, coming away from the family and sacrificing things and being strict with the diet and things like that. Even things like that, when you strip all that away, that's a big chunk of your life, you know. And Bellew would do 12-week camp, probably come down here, 12-week camps we did. So that's a long stretch, you know. You're talking like 3 months. You fight a couple of times a year. There's a lot of time away that you're spending from home, from the day-to-day stuff like shopping, food shopping, like picking your kids up from school and things like that. So there is always going to be an adjustment. It's like when people, when it's not 100%, but it's a similar sort of mentality. When people come out of the army and then they're getting used to being like a civilian sort of thing. And when a fighter's so tunnel vision throughout his career, then has that taken away and has to go into normal life, whatever that may be, is there an adjustment, because normal life, it's very rare that it gives you that same adrenaline, that same sort of rush that the life of a boxer, a footballer, a sportsman, whatever, something that's outside the box. It's very rare that gives you the same sort of feeling. So there's always that adjustment time. And for Bellew to go into SAS like that, there's a lot of prodding and poking at that, and it gives you, you know, there's a lot of downtime. We see an hour's sort of footage a night. The downtime and just the mental sort of aspects, being in them conditions and that environment, fucking awful, mate. And I think it's very tough. I think mentally it's very tough, and I think you've done brilliant on it.
100% right, Dave. My hay fever's just started to go, mate, and I'm sitting in my garden, so I think that's my call to.
Listen, mate. If you got a couple of trees in your back garden, you ain't done bad, have you? Cougar's paying you well.
Mate, this ain't my place. I'm still sponging with my mum and dad. Thank you very much.
Good on you. That's it. You're only a baby anyway. Don't worry about that.
Exactly, mate. I'm on my side. Look forward to seeing you at a show soon. And, you know, it's probably, I don't know what the media situation will be with Fight Camp, but, I mean, hopefully before the end of the year, if not next year, we can sort of get, because I think it's missing the buzz of just going to York Hall, standing on the little stage bit, watching over, talking to boxing people. There's that whole little just community thing that you miss.
I miss it. I do. I miss the buzz of just being around fighters and fight people, fight fans and things like that. You know, just like you said, we need that buzz back. We need that back as soon as possible, and hopefully things go in the right direction. Numbers are getting better and better. More and more things seem to be getting relaxed. So hopefully things are back to normal soon.